Bye.
York Sport President. The York Sport President is the main point of contact for all university and college sport clubs. They coordinate and develop sport within USU and work to increase opportunities and participation. They help to shape the direction of sports and physical activity at the University of York, as well as running massive events such as Roses, College Varsity and Colours Ball.
Jess Rolfe, and I'm joined by Jammy, who's running for the Sports Union President position. So Jammy, welcome to URY.
Hi, first time being here.
Right, brilliant. Could you just introduce yourself quickly and tell us why you're running for the role?
Yes, so I'm Jammy. I'm a third year, studying art history and curating. And I'm running because I have a lot of experience in sports. I've worked for a football club for about 2 years. I'm the president of a book society at the moment. And I feel like I can bring a lot to the role with Frankie going. Unfortunately, but with Frankie going, there's a gap there and there's something that needs to be filled. And a few of us know that there are changes that we want to see, we want to make happen. So that's why I'm here.
Do you have experience playing on York sport teams at all before?
Yeah. In terms of, I'd say, well, the sports that I do are pool and darts, which for everyone, that's not a sport, but for us it is, and it's an integral part of college and uni sports. So.
Okay, so you mentioned in your manifesto that if elected, you'll ensure a smooth integration of sport into the semesterization coming in the next academic year.
Yeah.
What impacts are you expecting there to be from semesterization, and how are you going to ensure that integration?
Yeah, especially for college sport. Like for us, we run our college in my society. We run our college sport over the first 2 terms and then have independent tournaments in the third. So you get 20 weeks of college and then 10 weeks doing other things. That's going to throw off our system completely because otherwise we're going to miss our independent tournaments. We're going to miss the chance to prepare for bigger university tournaments. So what I'm going to do is make sure that people could get enough college time and also uni practice and uni prep. So that probably means changing the college weekly system for sports that it doesn't quite fit to, like mine. I'm sure some will be a smooth integration, but there'll be some where it won't be, like pool. So for that, we'll have to change the system, change the weekly basis, and make sure we put in enough that it's going to work for the new semester.
So how exactly will it be different?
Yeah, so I mean, what I said in my manifesto is that I want sort of a bit of a transition time, which is what the university's doing as well, and they're planning. I mean, it's hard to know because their holidays, they're looking at, I think, 3 weeks over Christmas, 2 weeks at Easter. That might change fixtures, so I think coordination across the board with sports will help. Improving coordination, I mean, talking to people like what Zach Shepherd does this year with the college sports communication, making sure that college and uni both go together. So organisation, coordination is probably one, which is another one of my points.
Okay. So another one of your main manifesto points is to create an efficient financial plan to tackle the cost of living crisis effects on sport.
Yeah.
What is in this plan if you're elected? And is there a way to create an efficient plan without increasing the cost of sport on students?
Yeah, so without increasing the cost, yes. I hope so.
Okay.
Maybe not. For me, it's more about giving more money to the students so that regardless of whether the cost goes up, we do okay.
Okay.
I mean, YouFund put in, well, we got £16,000 from YouFund in the last 21-22 impact. 11,000 of that went to the activities grant, and that was then served to, I think, over 230 students.
Can you confirm for me where you get these figures from quickly?
Yeah, from the USU Impact Report,
awesome.
2021-22. And using these figures, I'm hoping to get more money than just YouFund and that one single sort of source, and to try and get some more money in so that we can use the access grant for more and also to promote it more. I mean, 230 is a great number. Like, don't get me wrong, that's an amazing amount of people, but that should be more. I think that should be more. And regardless of whether sports goes up with the sort of cost of living and things like that, putting more money in the first place is, in my opinion, the answer. So we've got to source that money.
Do you have a plan as to where to source that money from?
No, not at all.
Is that something you'd have to look into?
Yeah. I mean, I've not been sports president before.
Okay.
I don't know the financial in and outs. I'm completely new to this, but I'm sure that within a few weeks, someone will have walked me through all the avenues for revenue.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that the plan set up for next year, for when we come in, or when someone comes in, is good enough that we can adapt around it.
I think there's a lot of concern, especially with college sport, that the price of a college membership for sport has gone up quite a lot recently.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the initiatives now, I'm not quite sure on, but in the past, Vanbrugh have had free sport memberships for certain groups, certain sports. I'm not sure if that applies across the board, but they've had initiatives like that have helped people out. And with college sport memberships going up, I mean, I'm a Bucks president. I put up my own membership fees this year, quite shamelessly. But that's what we have to do to get by. The costs will go up. So the funding we need to fund students, I think, needs to go up from the source, from where it starts, because people might end up spending more money with raised prices. If we can bring those prices down, incredible, amazing, and I'll try my best.
What is the funding you're going to get going towards exactly, just to clarify?
What's that, sorry? The funding
So
towards...
you're saying you need more funding for students in sport?
Yeah.
Where's that going to, if not lowering costs for them? What's it for? Is it grants or something?
Yeah, so the youth fund one's a big one, and alumni funds and things like that. So it will go, some of that will go towards what I was speaking about earlier with the Access grant. The rest will go straight into the college fund.
Okay.
All colleges will then, I mean, I'm not sure if I can dictate those funds, but if I can, they'll be split equally across the board so that everyone sees a fair lowering of said costs. Okay,
well, beyond financial accessibility in your manifesto, you talked about increasing inclusion by creating sensory spaces on campus to establish inclusive and accessible sports viewing areas. Yeah. Could you explain to me what you mean by those areas? Yeah. What would that look like?
Yeah, exactly. So when I worked for Sheffield United, we had a sensory room. So Watford Football Club were the first in the country to introduce a sensory room for viewers at sports. So it is a room, well, a bit like the one we're in now. So it's dampened. It's, well, maybe not with the lights, but the lights are dimmed, it's dampened. It's sort of a space near certain sports that people can visit if they have sensory issues, if they have... Not everyone wants to go to a football or rugby game with 1,000 screaming people stood around them. So if we can find ways to help those people, to introduce and bring more people into sport, like, I can't tell you what they'll look like. Okay. I'd have to do an audit of all the spaces that are available and can be at least semi-permanent on campus for us to put them in place.
Okay.
Yeah. So I can't really tell you the architectural structure of one, but what I can say is that we'd be looking at everywhere and anything just to bring more people in and to be more inclusive.
To some students, there's a big issue with York Sport of not having enough facilities for the teams we already have that are playing.
Yeah.
So some people may say that focusing on something like adding more spaces like that maybe isn't the most important thing to do, more find the space for the teams. What would you say to those people as to why this is such an important issue for you?
I say find more space.
Okay.
I'm pushing the university all the time to give me more space. It's one of the things that we all do when we run sports clubs. We complain. And I want to be on the receiving end of those complaints. I want to say, yes, we'll carry out more investigations into why you can't use this or why you can't have this and why these two things can't coexist. I think that we can have sensory spaces. I think that we can have fertility spaces. I think we can have more of both. And I think that if I am elected, that is there are two things that I can do and put in place. Because we'll always complain. Keep knocking on the doors. That's the point of what we do.
Okay.
I'd say.
Okay, so a big focus for the previous sport union president has been gender inclusion. She's been working on a sport policy about accessibility and inclusion, and she's talked a lot about gender inclusion for women, non-binary and transgender players.
Yeah.
If elected, is that something you'd focus on, and how would you go about that?
Absolutely, and gym spaces. I know that that's something that's been going around a lot, like maintaining a gym space for women and non-binary people. I think that's incredible. I think that's something that needs to be supported, funded. In my own society this year, we introduced a women and non-binary officer role where something like, I mean, I come from Q Sports, darts. These are things heavily dominated by men, and also by just a very loud atmosphere and a very, I don't know, masculine thing. So then bringing in an officer for that has really made us more inclusive and has diversified the people that come to our sessions. Everyone's happier and everyone's better. So I definitely say pushing for initiatives like that and things that are being introduced now and maintained now are a great idea. Okay,
so we're running out of time slightly. So quickly, to your students that are voting, what is the main thing from your manifesto you want them to take away and remember and vote for you for?
Semesterization, things will change. We want more money, so About me, and also sensory spaces. We want to be more inclusive, and I'm running out of time. So
Okay,
thank
I'm
you.
going to have to cut you off there. So we're going to Will Harrison, we're Studio Red now for another interview. Thank you.